Welcome to Innovation and Leadership. I'm Jess Larson. Today on the show, we've got part 2 of our interview with Danny Isserles.
First of all, for a while, any mail that you send out, I want to be CC'd. Any project, please, update me pretty frequently. And this is a way for me to gain trust in my employees and see that no disaster happens.
Danny, I'd love to talk in this part a lot more about leading an innovative team. Obviously, so many folks have great ideas that never actually become a marketable product, and here you guys are just days away from yours being marketable. And also, just you have innovative marketing that really tells the use case of a customer. I mean, I watch those videos and I think, man, I think I should get one of these for talking to my kids when I'm on business trips. But go anywhere with that. Where would you go with that on leading teams that can think like this?
So I've learned great lessons throughout the past few years regarding on how to have a team become passionate and give you more than you expect. I mentioned before my CEO, Yossi Wolf, which taught me a lot of these lessons. But the first one that he taught me regarding recruiting a team, hiring people, he always tells me, find people which you feel are much better than you, because those are the ones that will take you forward. Sometimes managers try to find the exact opposite, people that they will always feel a bit above, and that is a way to I think kind of make your workspace, first of all, disrespectful in a way, and just not straightforward moving machine. And when you take people that all continuously suggest great ideas, and you just have to pick like a la carte, like a menu, then it becomes much more fun and much more of a speedy process, and you get to really new places. The second thing that I've learned throughout the years, and this is a sentence by my friend Gal Goen, who's the CEO of Timi China, our manufacturing company. He says, you can be a great general when you have the best commanders. So again, I find people that I don't sit with them on their computer screen and say, move this here, do this, because that's not really management, and not really, and the employee doesn't really feel that he's doing anything aside from being some kind of tool. The way to lead a team, as I see it and as we see it in our company, is to give someone a goal, and then if he starts saying, but what should I do? I should do this. You just say, first of all, go and try to deal with it. Do it as you think you should do it. Give someone a mission and let him run free. That way, our employees feel much more contributional and much more excited about the job and much more passionate. And the results are incredible.
So, what would you tell a manager or leader who they hear that advice and they think that's good advice, but they have that tendency to think, well, I should tell them what to do because it'll be more efficient because they'll do it right the first time? What would you have as far as advice to help a leader or manager kind of hold back that urge and be a little bit patient to let people explore and probably make a couple of mistakes on the way to finding an answer?
First of all, I would very much understand a manager like that. I'm very, very much hands-on originally, and I don't tend to trust people. But then eventually, I'd tell that manager, if you want your company to be successful, then in a few months or in a year, you'll have to scale, right? And then when you scale and you'll have more responsibilities and more regions you're working with and more employees, you can't be everywhere all the time. You can't be fully involved in every process that works. If you don't build your roots properly, if you don't build your core team, your core employees and managers as employees that can manage projects and situations themselves, then you won't be able to grow. You will be very much stuck as a small company where you have to do everything. You will never become something big or more successful because you are shrinking your abilities as a company.
Pretty clear. Interesting. Um, well, I'm interested when you think about your experience coming from the marketing side to now being in charge of the whole country, or other just transitions in your career. Is there a story that stands out to you when you feel like you learned a big leadership lesson, either observing or something that you went through?
No, I can just say really that just the answer I gave before about the scaling, etc. I started a company here in the U.S. With one employee. Now we're five, and we're soon to be 10. And and in the beginning, I was exactly that. I was sitting in everybody's screen and making sure how they're writing their emails. And I think as a start, when you kind of check out who your employees are. When I have a new employee, then I request him first of all for a while. Any mail that you send out, I want to be CC'd. Any project, please, update me pretty frequently. And this is a way for me to gain trust in my employees. Where at some point, it's always hard, but it's I guess it's like putting your kid at the kindergarten for the first time, but you have to let go and and see that no disaster happens. If it happens, you'll deal with it, but usually no disaster happens, but the opposite.
I'd be interested in how you feel like these principles apply to marketing. You come from a marketing background. Obviously, you look at the press page on your website. You guys are getting covered by Forbes and Bloomberg and Reuters and everybody. And I think I saw on your early adopters page, you've already got almost 24,000 people signed up to be on the early adopters. Um, Something is going right about your marketing. Can you talk about what you think it is and how you help a team go deeper on whatever it is that you guys do?
Yes, first of all, um, I think we did something pretty smart from a pretty early stage. We were very much invested in clearing the messaging, not to the world, but to ourselves. How do we describe this? We have what is considered to be a very complicated product for description. If somebody asks me for an elevator pitch, it's pretty hard. And we were just in the office, the marketing team, every 2 3 days, we would check upon each other. So, do you have an elevator pitch? Do you have an elevator pitch? How would I call that? What does this? And we really went into depth on what every word means and what every word feels like. And we changed a lot throughout the time since the time that we started with that process, which was about a year or a year and a half ago. And we are constantly rechecking ourselves on that. At some point, I think we understood, or we captivated a way of telling the story of the product so it actually appeals to almost everybody. Where we've how do you call it? We've each and every one of us on the team demonstrates Teamy or tells about Teamy while using personal situations, personal uses from our lives, because it helps people relate very easily. If explain to someone how I use Teamy to spend time with my nephews, the person on the other side automatically sees his nephews and understands why it's good for him. So, so this is a very long process of building the messaging properly that I think we figured out well. The second thing that we did in all our marketing is because, as I mentioned, we from the beginning we understood that this is a product that is not the simplest to describe. So our marketing materials, and you referenced our videos, are pretty direct. So the first one we did was very visually explain what are all the uses of this device. The second movie that we did was, okay, so you see it does all this. Now let's focus on what we think is the most interesting, usable, exciting feature, and let us show you all the ways you can do it. So that's the video, moving video call video. So we took a woman and put her in a very common life situation that pretty much anyone can relate to, and we showed all the different uses of Teamy for her. So we're trying to be very simple towards the customer.
This is the one where she checks in with her kids and then she checks in with her
Mm-hmm.
work and
Yep.
yeah.
So
That's
it's just one feature out of thousands you can do with Teamy, but it is so special and usable. And still, when you explain it to people, when you say, "Oh, you can be at two places at once, you can hop into your robot from just," not always they get the idea, the story, the ability in it. And so we said, "Hey, we think this is worth our while to sit on this issue and explain explain the hell out of it." So we did it, and we're getting great responses for it, of people saying this is exactly my life, and I can exactly see myself using this for these uses. And
no, that's the one that got me. I go to conferences in different countries and I'm away from the family and um, theoretically you should be able to just call and FaceTime your kids, right? But
yeah,
but I have teenagers or I have kids who are off playing and it's actually not as easy as I would have thought sometimes to like get the kids. So
exactly.
the idea of having that thing to drive around the house and go find my 10-year-old and say, hey pal, how was school today? Uh, anyways, that one hooked me. Um, well, hey, I think this is a great place to take just a quick break to hear from our sponsor, and we'll be right back to hear from Danny. Okay, so Danny, we're back from our sponsor break here. Thinking about your own approach to leadership and helping a team want to go through the process. You before our little sponsor break there, you were talking about going back over and over and making sure everyone had a personal story use case about the product. Um, I think for many of us in business, we know why the product is good, and it seems like a lot of work to sit down and go through and do that specifically and have everybody have a personal story. Um, any thoughts about the discipline to stick with it and to come back to it over and over and have people revisit and continue to refine instead of just call it good?
And we we don't see failure as an option, and so we constantly test ourselves. So as long as we feel that we have a way to go, and we have, even if it's two more steps ahead to move forward, then we'll put in the effort. And this is the team that we built as well. If I go to a conference and I tell the story of Teamy, and I see that 50% I get enthusiastic responses and 50 are doubtful, something is not working. I want 99% of the people to love it. So this is why we are constantly and we are constantly improving these messages and the stories, etc. And it also makes your work much more fun. First of all, personally, I very much like playing with wording and messaging. I think it's a very interesting field as is. But when you go to one conference and you get 50% doubtful and 50 enthusiastic, and then the next one you're at 70% enthusiastic and 30 doubtful, and you feel the improvement, your job becomes much more fun. You start now when we go to show, I call it, we used to call it showcase teamy. Now I call it to show off teamy, because we come with it. We open the box and we start enjoying it, and we start enjoying the responses, the great responses. So it's like being, it's like coming to a party and being the center of the event. So it makes your work so much fun for all our employees. So I think it gets you addicted on improving the marketing materials and stories, etc.
Yeah. What about early on when you have team members that are discouraged, when they get out there and test and the test doesn't go great? How do you approach that as a leader or a manager of helping them get past the frustration or get past the downer and get the excitement back?
First of all, I think the atmosphere is very non-judgmental or criticizing. We all feel that we are in this project together, and so if something doesn't go well, it's not my employees. For sure, it's not his fault, and it's not his down. It's all of us's problem. And the general approach is very, very accepting. So we treat this whole product, or the process of it, as a project that we're having the chance to utilize computer science and mechanics. So it's like kind of a lab. So testing or presenting and failing and then going back to the lab and improving, it's just part of the process. It's no biggie. I mean, once we're out with the products for customers, obviously you can't allow yourself that range of trial and error. But as long as you are in the process of R&D, that's the thing. That's the fun. Exactly like when we were kids and we built RC cars. So you build it, then you take it for a first ride, and then it malfunctions, or you break something, so you take it back to the house and repair it. Or I know I have a long history of mechanics with motorcycles, etc. So half the time is breaking things and then repairing them and then improving, and it's a cycle of improvement. So it's part of our joy of creation, I say.
So at Mylan, we've got the media half of the business, and we've got the consulting half where we're helping folks with their leadership or innovation programs internally. And we have a lot of clients that maybe don't have environments of acceptance. The company's been around a long time. They've only been there for a handful of years, right? And they're trying to change things. They're trying to make the environment more accepting. I mean, you read about those top sports teams like a San Antonio Spurs, or, at Mylan, we've got a bunch of former special ops guys. And these are definitely environments where we are a team together and they are accepting, like people feel safe there. If you had any advice for my clients that want to make their environment more safe, more accepting, what would you say?
First of all, I think it all starts from the head. If the head of the company wants such an environment and assists in creating one, then all his employees will have to be aligned. Or the only thing I think that an accepting environment should not accept is a non-accepting person. So I'm also from special operations background, and worked in a very small and intense team and intense environment, and Um, Whoever didn't comply with the atmosphere that we built in our small team just wasn't a part of the team. So this was part of the team build. We started 30 people, and we finished after 2.5 years of a course. We finished 15 people, and we were all aligned with the same team culture. We wouldn't accept non-acceptance or someone who is non-assistive or is unreasonably critical. Um, yeah, so I think
I guess, yeah, I guess it's that boldness of the leader to just not accept it, huh?
in a company, completely, yeah, yeah. You just have to fight for the culture that you want to have.
I love
It's
it.
a, it's a huge issue, company cultures, and it changes uh, all the employees' experience, and it changes the face of a company. And if I think it's something that every company leader should be very aware of and invest time and resources in building the culture he believes in.
I love it. Well, maybe as a final question here, I'd love to hear any other. We've been lucky enough to have a lot of folks from different special operations units over the years on the show. I'd love to hear maybe as a closer here, just another lesson that you feel like translated from your time in special operations to helping lead your team today.
Mm, that's pretty simple. The world of tech or startups is the world of the unknown, and it is exactly similar to special operations. You you have to be prepared for the worst, but no matter what happens, you keep marching on. Never stopping, and this is something that special operations completely built my character in. That nothing will break us. We will be thrown. We will get sticks and stones thrown at us during the way, but nothing will stop our path to our shining star or to our goal in the end. And it's very, very useful in startups.
I love it. Well, thanks again for making so much time for us here.
No problem. Thank you for the great questions. It was very interesting for me.
You bet. So, everybody, recommend checking out robottemi.com. What about social? Where's other good places for them to follow you guys?
So we are on Facebook, RoboTeamy, Instagram, RoboTeamy, Twitter, um, LinkedIn, wherever you want, we're there.
Love it. Okay. Thanks again.
Thank you very much.